G'day all, back here again with another video, and this time we're with the Dart XL, which I've had for a fair while now. It's a great plane, and I've just installed a Walksnail Avatar HD Pro kit, the version 2. It's got 32 gig of storage on board. Not sure if I like that. In some ways I still prefer pulling out the SD card like you do with the Moonlight Kit, but anyway, this one's got the 32 gig built into it. So this has been installed up in the front with two aftermarket antennas in place of the stock antennas that came with it. So I just thought there's no point having these stock antennas, which are the same stock antennas which are on the Moonlight Kit, which is on my Phoenix 2400. I think I'll prefer to do the testing where the Moonlight Kit can run the stock antennas and the V2 Pro can run the aftermarket antennas. They're 150mm in height, left-hand circular polarized. So I've installed the VTX up the front, as you can see there. The camera installed in the left and the right hand side of the nose cone there, where the other cameras normally fit. So these aerials and extensions I got, I bought them off AliExpress. So the way I've wired this up, I've wired it up so that I've got a JST plug here that I can use to disconnect and connect the transmitter, just to avoid it from overheating when I'm gaining satellites. In INAV, I've got the VTX set to UART3 and make sure that MSP display port is selected in the peripherals section. Once you've selected those, go ahead and save that and then go across to the OSD tab in INAV, and that should open up the HD section of the OSD. And we need to go up to the top in the preset there and just select Avatar. Now you can adjust all your OSD layout to how you want it for your unit. So what we're going to do now, we're going to install the latest version of Express ELRS. I've just connected up the battery here, and we will upgrade all the fleet. We'll upgrade this one first because I'm going to take it out in a minute for a flight. You can see the flashing light there from the receiver. When that's ready to bind up and to upload the firmware, I will go around to the computer and it should connect up wirelessly. I have all my planes connected wirelessly for the updating of Express ELRS. We're on 3.6.0 at the moment. All my stuff is currently running 3.5, so I'm going to upgrade everything here and just show you how we do it before I take this plane out onto the field for a flight. Okay, back in Express ELRS, and we're going to upgrade the receiver now. Just going to wait. All my planes they connect via Wi-Fi, so I'm just waiting for it to recognise the receiver. Sometimes that can take up to a minute in some cases. And there we go. You'll see it pop up at the bottom there, and we will select our receiver. 3.6.0, it's a happy model dual receiver, this one. So that's all connected on Wi-Fi. 900 megahertz is the domain, and we got our binding phrase there, so that's all good to go. We'll just connect, we'll hit the flash button and let it do its job. And it says upload successful, but you need to wait until the receiver reboots and it'll come up and say success in green. Until it does that, don't touch it until you see the success. There it is there. So that's all good. We've got both our transmitter now and receiver upgraded to the latest version of Express ELRS. We're going to be running a 5000 milliamp battery in this flight. Leota batteries that I made. I've had this one for a while. It fits pretty well in the plane. And I've just created a Molicel 5000 milliamp 4S battery, and that's running the Molicel P50B cells. They're yet to be tested. I will test them in coming videos, but not in this flight. I'm going to be using the Leota brand battery that I always fly in this due to its centre of gravity. Just out the flying field here. It's time to run the ZOHD Dart XL again. It's been a little while since I've flown this plane. I've just recently the Walksnail Avatar system in it. This plane was rebuilt about a year ago. So I'm running a 5000 milliamp 4-cell battery in this. Custom built battery, this one. Designed for cruising, not for speed racing or anything like that. It's running a Maytech flight control. I'll put it on the screen when I work out what it actually is. It's been so long, and it's running a 10-inch prop on it with a Sunny Sky motor. My Goggles X today, we're running 4 patch antennas, 2 True RC X2 Airs, and the 2 at the bottom are triple feed patch antennas. I've checked the CG. I've got the battery set in its correct position for best CG for the Walksnail unit sitting up the front there. Now I've just connected the battery up, and the way I've set it up is so my high definition, my FPV unit isn't running until I've accumulated satellites. So I've just connected everything up now. It's just waiting to gain satellites. When it does, I will just connect up this cable here to the FPV unit. This will be its first flight with the Walksnail HD Pro kit in it. We've got a light to mild breeze, actually gusting to 20 kilometers an hour at times, coming up from the south. So we're going to be throwing in that direction. So I hope you enjoy, hop on board, and we'll see you in the air. So we are running INAV 8 in this, and we'll be doing an auto launch. Auto launch is always fairly good with this plane. Now expect the flight here to be quite bumpy. There's quite a few gusts of wind down along the ground, so no doubt it's going to be just as bad, if not a bit worse, up at altitude. So bear with me with that. It's been a while since we've flown this plane, so I'm not exactly 100% sure how it's going to handle all the wind that we encounter in this flight. But what I want to do is run over the configuration for this plane through INAV. I'll let you have a look at how it's set up at the moment. So as we fly back past, so in the configurator here, we'll just take a break from the flight for a second, and nothing much is going to happen while I'm loitering around getting myself ready. So we'll show you what's going on here. These are the PIDs that I've got set up at the moment on it. It's not a great deal different from what it was out of the box when we first installed INAV. Just pause it if you want to take a good look. The rates as well, you can see what we've got there. I don't do any stunt work with this, it's just a pure cruiser, so that's how I like it set up. It seems to be pretty good, although it is a bit bumpy on this. I could probably do a few adjustments for this flight if I wanted to, but we're just going to leave it as is. Filters set up like that. I have made a few adjustments with the low pass filter, but other than that, not a huge change from how it is installed. Going to the advanced tuning, you can see what my auto launch settings are there. It works quite well with this plane. I used to get it veering off to the right quite a bit. If you didn't throw it very well, sometimes it would veer right around to the right hand side there. I think it got too much torque roll, so I adjusted the throttle power and the amount of time it takes to throttle up to its full launch power. Again, any settings here that you want to have a look at, just pause the video. Don't recommend you copying what I've got here either. And again, if you can give me any tips that may better my plane, I might even give that a shot as well. Because it's always a learning curve with these planes. My setup doesn't mean it's as good as it can be, of course. There's always tweaks that you can do to your plane to make them run better, just like the conditions always change too. So that's pretty much about it. We'll get back to the flight, and we're in cruise mode at the moment. just at about 40 meters in altitude, and we're going to do another pass back over the home point here. And what I will do is look at doing a bit of a range test. I think you can see the headwind is quite solid that we're flying into at the moment. It's getting thrown around quite a bit. Gain a bit of altitude and see if that helps things at all. Currently going with the wind. Currently going into the wind. I'm showing an airspeed of 64 kilometers an hour, ground speed of 49, and currently at roughly 80 meters in altitude, and currently just over 650 meters away from home. So I'm going to venture out over here, over these sugarcane fields here. We'll keep away from houses and roads if we can. And I want to try and keep it below the 120 meter in height as well, just to test the range and link quality of the Walksnail Avatar Pro. Now I've currently turned myself to face my aerials towards the direction the plane is in to maximise range. As you can see, we've still got pretty good signal. Signal strength is still fairly full, and bite rate's still quite good too as we approach the 1.2 kilometre mark. So far the Avatar Pro 2 looks quite good. Great upgrade from the analog system it did have in it. It was running a 1.3 gigahertz system in it for long range, and I think the best I really got out of that, didn't push it overly, but I did get it out comfortably to a 10 kilometre distance at about 100 meters. So I want to try and keep this one around that same 120 maximum in height. I find it's drifting upwards at the moment, even with the hands off the sticks. It's slowly creeping up in angle mode. Just bring it back down a bit so we're not going above the 120 meter ceiling. And we'll just do a quick auto level trim too to try and settle it down a bit. It's a little bit bumpy, and it seems to be going left and right, I've noticed a little bit. I've found over the years with this plane, the Dart XL, it's a bit tricky to tune. So we're now at 3 kilometers and we're still showing pretty good signal, and bite rate's still fairly acceptable too. It's hard for me to determine exactly where I am from this distance to point the aerials directly at where the craft is. But yeah, we've dropped down a bit now with signal strength. but that could be due to the fact that I'm not looking directly at where the plane is. We did get out to 3 kilometers there, so that's fairly good. That's the most distance that I've ever pulled in my Walksnail system so far. And we're around the 100 meters, down to 80 meters in altitude at the moment. The plan will be to try and get maximum distance at minimum altitude. That's what I want to do. Because usually most of the time you need altitude to get yourself the distance, but it's a bit hard to do here, so I'm happy just to try and get my distance at a lower altitude. So I'm going by my current records that I've done at around the 100 meters. That's the furthest I've pushed this system now, is 3 kilometers at around 100 meters in height. I'm sure we can go much further. So we're in cruise mode currently. We're around the 6 amps, so it's not too bad for efficiency. It's just very bumpy. It's knocking the front of the plane. You can see it going left and right at times. It's something I'd like to tune out a bit better for these conditions. So we're coming back with the wind, so you can see we've got 73 kilometers along the ground. The wind speed is at 60 kilometers an hour, 65 in the airspeed. So we've got a good tailwind at the moment. We'll just venture out to the left here and we'll go across the open cane fields here for a little bit. Still pulling around the 6 amps. Just lower the height down a little bit as well. It's always a good test to see what your signal strength is for your video quality. As you get it a bit lower and a bit further distance, you'll find that your video feed usually drops a lot faster than what it will be if you're at altitude. Very bumpy though. There's a lot of wind at this height. Around the 30 meter height seems to be really pushing the plane around quite a lot. So regarding the picture quality, it seems good. Walksnail Avatar Pro V2. Quite a nice picture. So currently the wind is coming from the left hand side, so we're actually going into a crosswind at the moment with a slight headwind. Currently 13 minutes into the flight at 14 kilometers distance in total. And pulling around 6.5 to 7 amps. Certainly coming from the Phoenix 2400 glider, this is a lot. The wind affects this plane a lot more than that one. Most probably due to the difference in wingspan, one being a lot larger than the other. But this plane is usually a little bit better and a bit smoother than what it's showing here at the moment. And I don't know whether that's because we're running a bit less weight than what we have previously been doing, so maybe it needs to do another auto tune and readjustments of some of the PIDs, as it's only running a 5000 milliamp battery now. So it used to run a 10,000 milliamp battery, that's what it's tuned for, and the 1.3 system that was in it possibly had a little bit more weight to it than the Walksnail V2 system that's in there at the moment. So all in all, the plane would be a little bit lighter, which I guess makes it a little bit more susceptible for wind gusts and being pushed around. But all in all, it's still a nice plane. I enjoy this plane. I've always liked the ZOHD Dart XL. It's not a stunt plane, it's a nice cruising plane, good for long distance, I think. Massive battery bay in it, so you can fit quite large batteries in it, and it will handle a 10,000 milliamp battery. I would probably have to say the Avatar Pro V2 is the best value for money camera in the Walksnail range, only if you plan to run 1080p. If you want the 4K, the Moonlight Kit is the best one, but it's quite a bit dearer than this FPV system. But the picture quality on the V2 is quite nice. I haven't compared the two side by side, the Moonlight in 1080p and the V2 Pro, just to see if there's much of a difference, but nothing really stands out to say that the Moonlight is hands down better at 1080p than the V2 Pro is. What do you reckon, guys? Has anyone ever had a good comparison between the two? If you plan to just fly at 1080p, is it worth getting the Moonlight Kit, or save a bit of money and just get the Avatar Pro V2? Here in Australia it's quite a difference in price, so far I've got to say I would go this camera if you're just going to plan to run 1080p, just to save a bit of money. So running 20-minute flight now, we're up around 20 kilometre in total distance, so flying at about 1 kilometre per minute. And some people mentioned in previous videos how the on-screen display artificial horizon is out, and it is out at the end of some of these videos. I have noticed that, but it's not out during the flight. It seems to be a little bit different when you overlay the OSD onto the video. I'm currently using Sneaky FPV video overlay, OSD overlay. That is hands down the best tool to use for putting your on-screen display on the video like this. There's a lot of little options you can do with it, and what I've done with this video, it's the first time I've done it, is created 2 video files. So one video file is the footage that came out of the VTX. This is untouched, it's not edited, nothing stabilized. And then another video file is just purely the on-screen display done in transparent format. So you overlay the one one over the top of the other in your editing process, and you can adjust so that everything matches up at the end of the flight. I'm not sure why it goes out. A lot of my other videos have shown that, especially on the Phoenix 2400. The OSD footage seems to end before the flight does, so I don't know why it's missing data. But it's got nothing to do with the software I'm using. It was doing this with previous software, overlay software I've used as well. The best bit about the sneaky FPV software is that you can make the transparent video with just the on-screen display, and you can layer it over the footage that comes out of the craft. Even when you're switching cameras to ground camera as the plane flies over, I can leave the OSD on using a different camera, which is also fairly cool. So 23 minutes now, 23 kilometers an hour. We are down to 28% battery, so we'll bring it in soon. 3.6 volts. So we are running the lithium ion 5000 milliamp battery. And these are 26 650 cells, custom made battery that I've built. Only put out 20 amp discharge, I believe. So they're not ideal for hard flying. You'll exhaust the batteries, but for cruising and general flying, it's fine. As you can see, we're only doing 7 amps just in cruise mode here, so that's nothing. Most batteries can handle that. It's the takeoff that needs the amp draw and the higher discharge. So we'll make our way back now, and we'll look at bringing the craft in a minute. All in all, quite happy with the way it's flying. It's just a bit bumpy at the moment, but that's expected with the wind around. Any suggestions you think I can smooth that out? I'm all open to any ideas, of course. Usually I don't like flying on windy days anyway, so there's always an issue. I find you've got a clear day like what we've got today, but there'll be wind, or you'll get a nice still day but it'll be cloudy, so it's not good for the video footage, or it's going to be a bit wet. There's always seems to be some factor which goes against the perfect flying conditions. Battery voltage down to 3.5 volts, 18%. Still got a little bit left in it.
20 minutes.
But I'm not going to push it any further. It's a bit of a boring flight, guys. I mean, I'm doing it more for my own backlog of testing, just so I can monitor and see how the plane performs at the current setup it has. I'll do one last pass and then we'll bring it around for a landing. Again, I'll leave the OSD on like this, so you can see that that's what I like about a sneaky FPV software for video overlay. You make the transparent video overlay with the OSD and put it over the footage, and you can adjust it if it is a bit out. As you can see, it's pretty much in sync. Alright, we'll prepare for landing as we bring it around for the last time. That was not the best landing, but a little bit hard. But we're down. So here's the flight stats. You can go over this if you want. Just pause the video. Total flight distance of 29 kilometers over 29 minutes. So that's a kilometer a minute. And max distance from home, 3.24 kilometers. So that's, like I said, that's a record for me. Personal best for my HD system. So I'll head back down to the ground and I'll give a bit of a wrap up of this flight and video. So I think all in all with that flight, we end up doing about 30 minutes in that flight on the 5,000 milliamp battery that I'm running in this. Pretty simple, did a lot of that in cruise mode, so we were sitting around that 7 amp mark most of that flight. And I'd kind of recommend these triple feed patches too. I did have 4 of them at one stage, but I bought the X2 Airs. Quite expensive, you're looking about $170 for a pair of these. I don't know if they're worth that, but yeah, that's what they're asking, that's what they get. Pretty solid system, I think it is now. It was a bit weak when I first started, but I've done a couple of things to it. One other little thing I did do, underneath the heatsink here, I've upgraded the heatsink because this is the original model. And underneath the heatsink here, the cables that plug into the receivers, rerouted this one here. So this one's going now right at the very front. And I reckon since I've done that, my range has picked up. Yeah, I don't know. That's just something that I have done. And this one here I kind of tucked away as far as I could too. So maybe that helps it a bit. The bottom two I can't get to. I'm not going to take it apart like that, so it can stay how it is. And this old girl, from its previous flight, we had a fail-safe in my Phoenix, resulting in the R9 unit here was running a bit, was loose in the JR bay. I have put tape around the outside of it and it's nice and solid now and haven't had that issue since, so pretty happy with that. So as I bring all this back, I'm going to do so thanks for watching guys, and hope you enjoyed the video. Keep with the hobby. For me it's a great time to be flying, cool weather, pretty good skies, so it's not going to last that much longer. We've got some heat coming, so take it while you can. If you're into the hobby, do it when you can do it. Get out there, it's good for you. See you in the next video guys.